Welcome to the NBA Prop Pick Show powered by EV Analytics. I'm John Metler. He's Adam Scherher. Adam, how's it going for you today?
Going pretty well. Last slate was a little annoying, went exactly like the opposite of how I feel like it should have. But looking forward to today. 5 games is nice. Good slate size. Feels like we've kind of been in this for the most part. That's still in that like 5 to 9 game stretch for a really long time. So that's nice.
Yeah, you're talking about the weird outcomes. So we lose Derek White, we lose Champagnie, but then Cole Anthony is our winner, plus 165, which is a big hit. So like the units don't change too much, but he has 2 threes and then leaves the game with an injury. He's the one who leaves the game with an injury, doesn't see nearly as many minutes as you would probably project, and he's the winner. And you're just like, cool, okay.
Win the guy that gets hurt early and then lose. Derek White had 3 assists with like 4 minutes left in the game. Obviously played more minutes too because Porzingis just doesn't play. Has 3 assists with like 4 minutes to go in the game, finishes at 5. And then Champagnie had 2 rebounds in the first half, needing to go over 2.5, finishes at 2. But yeah, we won the guy that immediately got hurt.
Yeah, it just makes complete sense. The Celtics their injury reports can get like the Porzingis was not even. I don't think he was.
He wasn't.
He was tagged nothing, right?
Yeah, he was nothing. And the actual funny thing is he's somehow missed every single game that Drew Holiday has missed, with the exception of 2 this year. And so when I was like doing my projections for DFS and trying to figure everything out minutes wise, I noticed that, and I actually went back and looked at the injury report to like make sure Porzingis wasn't just like lingering on there, and they were going to like sit him for some reason with Drew, and wasn't on there at all. And then the game starts, and it's just like, oh yeah, Porzingis isn't on the floor.
Oh yeah, by the way, he's out, and then he plays Pistons, and then Jaylen Brown sits out. So, all right, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Michael Ham saying lock in chat. Absolutely. When you always need your help finding prices. Speaking of prices, was there a bet on the board today or something you saw where it's like, hey, the projections are showing this is a pretty good bet, but when I manually kind of go into this, not loving it?
Yeah, I would avoid Luka rebound unders right now. I'm not necessarily saying to bet the over. I think you could, but like I don't want to go that far without having reprojected everything at new rates and stuff. But Luka's rebounding numbers so far with the Lakers are much higher than they were with the Mavs. Per 36 minutes so far with the Lakers, Luka averaging 11 rebounds per 36. For the Mavs, he was averaging about 8 rebounds per 36. And obviously small sample size, it's been 7 games or whatever, but it does also make sense. For one, the Lakers obviously are not big. You have Jackson Hayes playing 24 minutes or so, and then other than that, you have a small lineup with a bunch of wings out there. And then like you were saying, we were talking before the show too, it makes sense from a basketball standpoint too, beyond just the size, where you have both of your primary ball handlers in LeBron and Luka as capable rebounders. You can just start the break with the ball in their hands. We know that's something that, teams do look to do, even if you're thinking about the Lakers, obviously different coaching staff and everything, but going back to like Josh Hart's time on the Lakers, where it was designed for Brook Lopez, I think it was, to box out Josh Hart to go get the rebound and just start the break. Like it's very easy for the Lakers to do that if they want to. I don't know why they wouldn't want to. And then even if it isn't by design, Luka is one of the bigger guys on the floor for the Lakers anyway. So I am hesitant. Like obviously any projection system is going to very heavily be weighting Luka's rebounding rates historically, which come from the Mavs. I think that he is very likely to be rebounding at a higher rate going forward with the Lakers.
That strategy was a big part. I remember Brad Stevens when he was at Butler. That was like always his thing, where it's like, we're small, the bigs box out, the guards come in and grab the rebound because the other guards are usually retreating, so they're not even coming in for the rebound. Like you were saying, the rip and run with LeBron James and Luka Doncic has to be like the scariest like offense you can literally face. And it's the most annoying part about it is it used to just be like, okay, like maybe Luka grabs 10 of them, LeBron grabs 10 of them, but like it's now like if Luka doesn't grab it, LeBron might grab it. Right. So now it's happened to you like 20 times a game. It's like, it's just the worst. And you don't want the ball in either one of their hands. And then sometimes, they rip and run, and then they're even outletting it further to like a Doncic or James who's running the floor.
Right.
So that offense is, that's a really scary part about that offense. Bobby Newport saying, what up? Good morning. Good luck. He also, SGPS funny. And SGPS rate cat sat, and then the rest of it all hit. So it was basically just like a straight bet. But let's get going to the picks here. We are 46 and 37 on the year, plus 13.98 units. Adam's from EV Analytics. They do fantastic prop projections. You can find them on the Covers website. If you're new to the release procedure, we have 3 bets for you. We'll tell you the game we're betting on, the prop market, the team, the player, and then we'll kind of put those projections to work. We'll put them against the market, kind of provide more context to them. Adam will do that for us. We are at FanDuel, Bet365, honestly, and all the alternate prices are kind of all over the place. So open up as many apps as you can. And we're the first bet. We're going to FanDuel. And we're going Pelicans Suns. Just a weird spot. They play today and tomorrow, the exact same game in Phoenix, Pelicans and Suns. The NBA is, that's like the last couple of years they've been doing that. It kind of creates interesting player props because if people go over today. But anyways, we're looking at for the assist market, and we are going Trey Murphy. We're going under 4.5 assists plus 118. Once again, as Trey Murphy under 4.5 assists plus 118. I think there might be a plus 120 at ESPN. We can't pull up ESPN on our screen here because we are in Canada. Adam's not, but we are, and that's where the screen share is coming from. So if you have ESPN, you can probably grab a plus 120 there. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing on ESPN too. But this looks like a good bet at a good price. The Pelicans are missing a couple more guys today than normal. Kelly Olynyk is out, Bruce Brown is out, but I don't anticipate either of them having a huge impact on Trey Murphy. We already have him projected for 37 minutes, which obviously is a very healthy projection. If the game really goes down to the wire, maybe he plays 39 or something, but there's obviously ways he goes under 37 as well. In the games that he's played so far with DeJounte Murray, obviously Murray being the guy that's missing that actually has an impact on, has the biggest impact on assists. In 16 games this year with no DeJounte Murray, Murphy averaging 4.5 assists per game in 35 minutes per game. So even if you make that 37 minutes, it's going to be about 4.5 assists per game. You're just getting plus money on basically his mean outcome. And then, as we've talked about a lot of times before, difference between median and mean, blowouts obviously are going to disproportionately affect things to the under. So, just looks like a very good price on Murphy.
Bobby saying plus 115 MGM, plus 114 DK. You're just looking at the Pelicans as we kind of go through these last 25-ish games here. You would think they kind of start to dial back these minutes of their start. Like they're in a perfect like tanking spot where it was kind of like gifted to them, and like I wouldn't say gifted, but like the season didn't go as planned, and you were never planning on having a draft pick this high. And like, why not just run with it? Like, hey, get a really good draft pick. And this is the front end of a back-to-back. I know it's a pretty good matchup against the Suns. Like, there's not really good defenders, but also an assist prop. Sometimes that doesn't necessarily help you because Zion can generate assists. CJ McCollum can generate assists. Like, literally every single matchup. Jose Alvarado honestly might be a nightmare for the Suns. Just like a small, fast guard who just weaves his way through the lane. So I feel like that could be spread out. I'm just kind of, you said 30, was it 35 or 37 minutes?
37.
37. Yeah, it just seems like high for,
yeah.
I think they'd want to, it is, they're a 7.5 point dog front and a back-to-back, very well could have blowout potential as well.
There's no way that 37 is too low of an average projection.
Right.
There is an argument that it could be a little bit high. Like last game, for example, you got 36 minutes from Murphy. Obviously, he does have games where he plays a ton. Like, he is very likely to lead this team in minutes. But to your point, too, about like not even necessarily actively tanking like the way, Utah is, just resting in their entire team, but like kind of low-key, sneaky things. Like CJ McCollum is just playing 30 minutes a night now. Pretty consistently. Like, and you look at his rotations and it's just the same consistent rotation, 15 minutes a half, and he's done. Like, I think you could see stuff like that from them down the stretch where maybe they don't completely mail it in. But, at some point, maybe they say, look, every single good player we've had for the last 3 years gets hurt constantly. Maybe we should stop playing Trey Murphy 38 minutes in games that don't matter. Not saying that happens tonight, but there are just so many ways for him to play less than 37 minutes. And it projects as a really good bet even at 37 minutes.
Yeah, and it's not like the outright tanking. It's like you don't need to completely pull, like the Utah Jazz are just completely pulling people out of the lineup, but it's like just dialing them back from like 37 to like 32, 33. Like that's a lot minutes of what a lot of people do play. They were talking about this on the broadcast yesterday, Knicks 76ers, and they're like 76ers are like out of the playoffs. They're not, they could get in the play-in term, but they're like, what a like taxing season they're putting on Tyrese Maxey. He's playing like 39, 40 minutes a game. And like, you're nowhere near like contending. And it's like, kind of like, why are you doing this to Maxey? Like, you could still play, like he can still play, just keep him at 30, 33. So I feel like Trey Murphy at some point, and like kind of these Pelicans guys that will trend that way. So First bet, Trey Murphy under 4.5 assists plus.
Oh, well, sorry. One other thing with the Pels too, like they are missing Brown, they are missing Olynyk, but they still have bodies. So it's not one of those situations where you're expecting Murphy to just soak up all those minutes either. Like Makovic can play more, Reeves probably is in the rotation, maybe Robinson Earl's in the rotation. They still have plenty of bodies to soak up those Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk minutes. Alvarado only played 20 minutes last game with Bruce Brown playing 28 and a half. Alvarado probably plays a lot more here. So and also, obviously that's another playmaker on the floor.
Yeah, Jose Alvarado. DQ player. I like him. We're going Trey Murphy under 4.5 assists plus 118. That's the first bet. There's plus 120 at ESPN. Move to the second bet here. We're going to bet 365. Just Hornets, Mavs. The Hornets have lost by like a combined 150 points the last 3 games. We are looking at the assist market. And we're going PJ Washington under 2.5 assists plus 135. Once again, that's PJ Washington under 2.5 assists plus 135. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah. So PJ is questionable. So obviously, if he doesn't play, you're just getting this bet voided. But 22 games played this year with no Luka and with Kyrie, 2.9 assists per game for PJ. Obviously, plenty of ways for him to play less than 36 minutes here. Blowout risk against Charlotte is obviously very existent, looking at their recent games. But it's another situation kind of just like the Trey Murphy one where I think we have a full projection on PJ Washington. Like, you're never going to project his average playing time to be higher than 36 minutes, even though it will be from time to time. And his average assist outcome is basically in line with his line here, where we're getting plus 135. Like, Kyrie is going to play huge minutes. Kyrie is obviously going to have the ball in his hands a ton. PJ Washington will be asked to step up at times as a secondary scorer, but he's not really who you're looking to as your secondary playmaker all that often. Like, he's not a big assist guy, no matter who's on the floor with him. So just looks like a really good price here at 2.5 assists, basically his average line.
It also really hurts assist props when you're like they're starting Kessler Edwards at the center position, when you don't have a guy who can, like, especially for a PJ Washington type of guy who like drives to the lane and like usually it is like a dump off to someone like a Gafford or Lively. Right. Like when those guys are gone, it's just like you don't have that center converting it. Then now all of a sudden those potential assists, you're looking at Klay Thompson to make threes. You're looking at maybe Max Christie to make threes. You're looking at guys to make jump shots, and like those just obviously don't convert at the same rate. And like you were saying, low potential the Charlotte Hornets. I forget what the stat is. I honestly think it's like 137 points or something. They've lost the last 3 games by they're just absolutely getting murdered on this road trip they're on right now, showing no signs of life. Bobby Newport saying plus 130 MGM. Says that his prop set at 3.5 at FanDuel, DraftKings, and Caesars, but you like the 2.5 plus money, right? Better than the 3.5. I think it's pretty.
Let me refresh, but yeah, okay. Before the show, at least that was showing up as the best.
Then Mason Under saying they aren't even trying to hide the tanking. Yeah, the Hornets have just. I was surprised, Mason. I was looking at this game last night, I was pricing like the spread, and you just kind of felt like, oh my God, there's gonna be like a good number. They're gonna force you to take the Hornets type thing because they're just getting killed right now. Like the market will force you to take the Hornets. They'll probably have like a good edge on that. And I came back as 10, and the spread was 10. So I was like, oh, thank God I don't have to take the Hornets, because I mean, if you price it at 6 and it's 10, you kind of got to take the 10. So I was surprised there.
Yeah, 2.5 looks better.
Yeah, I remember kind of going through the market for. I think it's pretty heavy juice for the 3.5. So we're on second bet, PJ Washington under 2.5 assists plus 135. We're going to last bet here. We're going back to FanDuel. And we're looking at the Pelicans Suns game. We're going points. This points. And this number has moved on us.
Yeah, DraftKings looks better now, I think.
Do you have the price for DraftKings?
Yes, DraftKings is under 12.5 points plus or even money.
Okay, so it's Bol Bol under 12.5 points, even money. We had a different juice there on the 13.5, but we'll go to the 12.5 since it's even money. So once again, that's Bol Bol. Shaq would be so disappointed in us right now. We're going Bol Bol under 12.5 points, even money at DraftKings. Adam, you want to break this one down?
Yeah, I like this one because obviously like Bol Bol is capable of scoring and all of that, but there's an extra way that you win this really easily, and it's that Phoenix changes up their starting lineup again. Like, I'm not expecting them to do that, but it is an out Bol Bol very unexpectedly started over Royce O'Neal last game, played 32 minutes in overtime. There is some chance that he just doesn't start today and it was just a matchup based thing. Again, I'm not expecting that, but like he had started a couple games and Budenholzer had said that he thought this would be a starting lineup for a while and then immediately changed it. There's not really a ton of consistency right now with Phoenix's starting lineup as they try and figure out ways to win games. They end up losing that game in overtime, blew a pretty big lead against Memphis. So there's no guarantee he's in the starting lineup. If he's coming off the bench, then this bet obviously looks amazing. But even if he is in the starting lineup, we have him projected for 24 minutes. I think that's the correct projection. Don't be misled by the fact he played 32 minutes last game. He got 5 minutes in overtime, but also he wasn't going to play in the fourth quarter of that game. Devin Booker fouled out with 2.5 minutes to go. Bol subbed in. Basically, Bol was done at 24.5 minutes. And then, weird things in the game happened and he ended up playing a bunch more. If you look at his first 2 starts from the season where he plays a bunch of minutes, you had games where like Bradley Beal was out. I think maybe Royce O'Neal was out in one or Grayson Allen was out. I don't remember. One of the wings was out. Bradley Beal was out, I think, for both. So in the it's tough trying to find like the right kind of sample or game to use, but we have one game of Bol Bol starting this year with the team fully healthy. He played 24.5 minutes and was seemingly done. I think 24 is I think it's the correct projection on his minutes here, assuming he starts, and it still looks, the bet still looks good here at even money. And then you do have the outs where he doesn't start and you're talking about like 12 minutes or something.
So we went to DraftKings and it was also minus 130, 13.5. So I just want to give you a second to kind of look it over so we can lock in a price for like our units and stuff. It looks like that's 13.5 minus 130, 12.5 minus 110. Or Bobby's saying minus 104 Caesars. Is that 12.5? I'm assuming that's got to be 12.5. If you can let us know Caesars, but I'll give you a second. I'll talk about Bol Bol and then you can figure out what price you actually want to lock in here as like the one we'll put on record. 13.5 minus 30. Okay. You're talking about like
DraftKings 12.5 doesn't exist.
I think Bobby's saying minus 104 Caesars. So that's got to be 12.5. And I'm assuming that's probably your best price right now. But
so I guess let me pull that up.
12.5 minus 104, or it's 13.5 minus 130.
Yeah, the Caesars 12.5 minus 104.
Okay. That's the one 12.5 minus 160. Okay, that's the one we'll put on our record for keeping units. You're talking about the matchup base. So he started last game. I didn't really think about it until you said it, but like it actually makes complete sense that that literally was just for one game because they're playing the Memphis Grizzlies, and you have Zach Edey, Jaren Jackson Jr., Santi Aldama off the bench, set like 7-footer, and like the Suns are kind of small to begin with. So like the Bol starting, like I know you're saying Budenholzer said maybe he's starting. This is our starting line going forward, but it kind of makes sense that might have honestly just been for the Grizzlies because then you switch the Pelicans tonight, and like the Pelicans aren't big, like they're mostly wings, and like they could take Yves Missi out of the lineup, and they're literally just all wings. So like, why would you put like Nick Richards, Bol Bol, Kevin Durant? You know what I mean? You don't need that.
And there's no Olynyk tonight either.
Yeah, so like, why you don't even need that size against the Pelicans? If you're going like, the next game was the Thunder, and it's Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, you can kind of see like, hey, Bol Bol's back in the lineup as a starter, as like more size. But like the matchup flip, it's like you went from like one of the tallest teams to a team you don't really need it. So
yeah. Even if Olynyk were in and you're getting a starting front court with Olynyk and Missi, like I can see it, but now you're back to Zion and Missi. Like my guess, like when I project this game, I'm going to project Bol to start, and like I said, we haven't projected to start here, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if you just get Royce O'Neal back in the starting lineup. And the other thing too, if you look at the rotations last game, it's not like they found some creative way to get Royce O'Neal 25 minutes off the bench. Royce O'Neal played 14 minutes. I am pretty confident that Royce O'Neal is not averaging 14 minutes per game for very long. So that's another thing that kind of makes me think it was just kind of a matchup thing where they're like, no, we want Bol Bol in this spot. I don't think that like Royce O'Neal is suddenly a 15-minute per game guy.
Yeah, those are always the best NBA bets, and it's always like how I look at it. It's like worst case scenario. So like you're like Bol Bol starts, he plays these minutes. I still like the under,
right?
But I feel like there's a path to like maybe he doesn't even start, maybe he doesn't see these minutes, and then it just looks even better. So it's like worst case scenario, we still like it. Best case scenario, it could get like a lot better. So
there's a non-zero chance that the only sweat you have on this bet is whether or not Bol Bol actually steps on the floor to make the bet count.
Yeah, that'd be a bet. He doesn't start and then he doesn't get in. That'd be awful. But you like get in there for 2 minutes, bud.
He's been in the rotation though, even off the bench. So
yeah. So the three bets, we're going Trey Murphy under 4.5 assists plus 118. PJ Washington under 2.5 assists plus 135, and Bol Bol under 12.5 points minus 104. Adam, you want to let people know where they can follow you, get more information for NBA?
You can follow me on Twitter at ShipMyMoneyDFS. Follow the Endgame Syndicate YouTube channel. I do some NBA DFS shows over there as well.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Drop us some comments in the chat. Like when it gets posted onto YouTube, I always check there. I'll go in there and answer you if you have some questions. This concludes the NBA Prop Pick Show powered by EV Analytics. We'll see you guys next Tuesday, 10:30 a.m. Good luck with your bets tonight. Mick, play the song.